No more Shama.
What is up, ladies and gents? It's your boy Jermaine Event, main on MMA, and today we are checking out another video from the GOAT GeeKay, and it's about when you got your boss by the balls, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Jon Jones. I've seen Aspinall, I think I saw it this morning. He said he's getting pretty bored of the situation with waiting to see if Jon will fight him and unify the belts or not. He's getting pretty annoyed. Let's see what our boy GeeKay has to say about the situation here between Jon Jones and Dana White.
Now, Dana White is no pushover, and when he has a disagreement with a fighter, he's not the type to keep it to himself.
Randy Couture comes off as the greatest guy in the world, Captain America. He's the furthest thing from it, and I'm happy to not be in business with him anymore.
Frank Shamrock is an irrelevant jackass, okay? He's a two-faced lion. I mean,
Ken Shamrock owes me $175,000. And I'm coming for it, Ken. I'm coming for the fucking money, you piece of shit.
But for the first time ever, it seems like somebody has finally got him in a spot where he has to bite his tongue, and not just that, but hyperbolically
I don't know what he does with his shit, but there's like
any given opportunity.
This guy destroyed the best heavyweight in the division. Easily made it look like nothing. Jon Jones is the pound for pound best fighter in the world and the greatest fighter ever. Period. End of story.
And now it seems like Jon Jones is just trolling the UFC, saying that he needs 6 months to prepare for a fight against Tom Aspinall after it's signed. And while it's absolutely infuriating for the fans, the truth is he can, because he's holding all of the cards and essentially has his boss by his balls. And in this video, I'll explain why that is. 10 years ago, the UFC was bursting at the seams with superstars. At the very top, we had Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor, backed by lesser known but still very recognizable names like Jose Aldo, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Daniel Cormier, Anthony Johnson, Alexander Gustafsson, and of course Jon Jones. It was a time where matchmaking was easy and profitable, and the company didn't have to stress about one of their big names being knocked off by a challenger, as the challenger was usually marketable in his own right. Anthony Johnson could knock out Alexander Gustafsson in the first round in his own city, for example, and ultimately everything would be okay. As Johnson was a huge knockout artist that they were dying to put into the main event, Gustafsson could still be put into the mix against any of the other light heavyweights and draw a crowd. And even when the Golden Goose and Conor McGregor was choked out by Nate Diaz in the middle of the octagon, the rematch and the subsequent fights only made his name bigger, while also thrusting Nate Diaz into superstardom and solidifying him as a main eventer in his own right. But as the years went on and most of the fighters lost enough times to lose relevancy or retired, the UFC became somewhat of a wasteland when it came to recognizable names. And after the success of McGregor, a lot of fighters chose to emulate him instead of being themselves, leading to an array of cringe clones that nobody wanted to watch.
I just see myself facing an insecure little lad swinging on a saddle with a pop gun and a feather in his hat.
Little
I
lad.
like Mike. I like Chiesa. He's a good guy. I'm doing him a favor, you know. I'm gonna change his life on June 25th.
And by the time we got into the 2020s, it seemed like the last of the familiar faces were being knocked off. With Khabib Nurmagomedov and Daniel Cormier retiring, Francis Ngannou leaving for boxing in the PFL, and Israel Adesanya losing several times, leading to him no longer being able to be competitive enough with the best of his division to be relevant, and leaving only Alex Pereira to bear the promotional brunt of the company. While the up-and-coming fighters like Sean O'Malley that the UFC was hoping to hand the torch lost and proved to not be interesting enough to avoid fading into obscurity. And while Pereira definitely didn't shy away from the opportunity, being less than 3 years away from 40 and somewhat limited in his fighting style, he ended up losing 2, which put a hatch into a lot of the 2025 plans that the UFC have for him.
When somebody becomes a big star and they start making lots of money, there are lots of different doors that open and opportunities, but there's no doubt everybody knew that Ankalaev was going to be a tough fight for him. Everybody knew that this was going to be probably the biggest challenge of his career.
Even though everyone seems to repeat it to the point that it's becoming redundant, the UFC really is in the middle of a superstar crisis, especially when it comes to fighters that are relatable to English-speaking fans, their largest demographic. And with the reports coming out of pay-per-view sales being low to the point of fighters with clauses for pay-per-view points in their contracts barely profiting, Dana White and Hunter.
I don't know if you guys seen that they're talking about doing this Netflix deal with the UFC. And the debate is if they're going to keep pay-per-views going. I hope not. That shit's crazy. It's like, what is it, like $80? Jesus.
Hunter Campbell are likely scrambling to put together anything they can to turn the tide behind the scenes. And at the moment, their options are pretty limited. They have the potential super fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev that seems to be falling through the cracks due to Islam being hesitant to fight another featherweight. And they have Jon Jones, who is the last of the big names remaining from the 2010s, who could have either fought Alex Pereira or the interim champion of his division, Tom Aspinall. And with Pereira losing and the only logical fight on the horizon being against Aspinall, with the added intrigue of him looking human in his recent outings and fighting a weight class above the one that he was best in, and Aspinall seemingly being the biggest threat that he has faced to date, likely resulting in Jones being the underdog if the fight were to happen, he relatively accurately feels like he can demand whatever he wants. And he's using that position to put the UFC through the ringer, first by threatening retirement if he doesn't get his way, then by demanding $30 million to make the fight happen, and now saying that he needs 6 months for a training camp after the fight is signed. This led a lot of fans to speculate that Jones just wants ample time for a steroid cycle, and maybe that's true,
what I think it is. That's
opinion,
honestly,
he's just being petty and wants to put Dana White through a humiliation ritual. He knows that this is his last fight, and he knows that Tom Aspinall is a huge threat, as well as the fact that there's a legion of people out there just.
I've seen Aspinall said he's looking into fighting different opponents because, like, in 6 months, dude, he could fight another fight in that time. It's already been like, when did Jon Jones last fight? Like in November? All right. He doesn't want to fight for another 6 months. After, he says once the fight is signed, he's going to need 6 months. The fight, Dana just said yesterday, the fight is not signed yet. So once it's signed, Jon Jones says he needs 6 months to train. It's crazy.
Just waiting to dismiss everything he has done if he were to lose. Because when it comes to him, he's always only as good as his last fight. When he has an off night, he's instantly overrated. And when he looks good, it's, oh well, like him or not, everyone's on steroids and Jones is the GOAT. And the latter is what he's hoping to leave imprinted in everyone's heads as he rides off into the sunset, while the UFC is hoping and praying to get this guy inside the octagon in 2025 to save the year. And you just know that Dana is seething behind the scenes because he can't just come out and lay into Jones the way he's done to other fighters, or even passive-aggressively claim that he doesn't want to fight like he's done in the past.
I could sit here all day and tell you, what show me the money mean? I tell you guys this all the time. If you can say you want to fight somebody, but do you really want to?
I mean, Henry Cejudo overvaluing his position annoyed Dana so much that he wouldn't even let him retire after his fight.
Henry Cejudo already retired, okay? He did the whole drop the gloves thing. Tonight was Merab's night. Merab went in there, he fought the number 3 guy in the world, former world champion. He won easily, won the fight. Tonight was Merab's night. If he wants to retire again, he could do that here or somewhere else. You don't give the mic to Cejudo tonight. Tonight was Merab's night.
And being that Jones is so valuable to the company at the moment, Dana is terrified of giving him similar treatment for fear of offending him, even though he probably really wants to. Because let's face it, as much as the UFC is lacking big fights, the heavyweight division in particular is a disaster.
It's
and
terrible.
While Tom Aspinall is a legitimately
worst division
great fighter
around.
outside of Jones and up until recently Pereira, who was poised to move up, he doesn't have any big names to compete against. And we all saw how much the UFC values champions of divisions that don't bring in money when Dana was on the verge of erasing the entire flyweight division when Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson was on top, which eventually culminated in him being traded for Ben Askren. The difference here is that heavyweight is not a division that you can just get rid of, as it's considered to be the marquee division in any combat sport, with the champion also wearing the title of being the baddest man.
Heavyweight MMA is the worst. It's like the lowest form of MMA, man. I'm not into it at all. There's no technique for the most part. And then when you have like a few gems, like a Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones to an extent, I don't necessarily see him as a heavyweight, but like when you get a talented fighter at heavyweight like Tom Aspinall, it's like clear to you that he's going to run through everybody because he's not just going to like swang and bang. There's actual technique to what he's doing. He has skills. All right. Lateral movements. That's the worst division in any promotion. All right. Any MMA promotion, heavyweight is the worst division. Just get rid of it. Just outlaw it.
Man on the planet. And currently, Jon Jones holds its fate in his hands because as far as the UFC sees it, not only would this be the most financially lucrative fight of 2025, a win against Jones would potentially
I like Malikin. Malikin's dope.
jumpstart Tom Aspinall's career and turn him into a household name as well. In the same exact way that a victory against Conor McGregor turned Nate Diaz into a needle mover. In my opinion, they want Aspinall to become the heavyweight Georges St. Pierre, where he's popular because of his look and his skills and not necessarily because of how much trash he's able to talk, making him that much more attractive to sponsors. And Jones not only wants to spoil that plan, but also drive them insane as they're trying to put it in motion. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, and if you want.
Shout out to the homie GeeKay for the video about Jon Jones, ladies and gentlemen. He has Dana White by the balls, and he does, because I feel like if any other fighter was pulling these kind of shenanigans you're getting from Jon Jones, you get rumors he's demanding $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. Then you hear Dana like, okay, he's going to get paid. He's going to get his money. Then you hear, oh, he's going to need an additional 6 months to train for the challenger. Mind you, the champion needs 6 months. He's saying out loud, I need 6 months to prepare for the challenger. Is that not insane? I think in any other situation, Dana White would have stripped that champion. Fight or defend, or what is it? Or relinquish. Defend or relinquish the belt. I think he should give that belt up. They should take that man's belt. They should have took the belt when Aspinall beat Blades. When he defended the heavyweight belt, John was coming back to fight Stipe, and what was seen as a potential double retirement fight. And by the sounds of it, it was, because Jon Jones is doing everything he can to avoid this fight. It was a double retirement fight. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion. And unfortunately, as GeeKay mentioned, this is the only marketable fight at heavyweight, right? In MMA and the UFC, there's no marketable fights. You have a talented heavyweight in Tom Aspinall, and if he doesn't fight the greatest of all time in Jon Jones, then there's just blobs. Maybe Jailton Almeida. Well, if he could get it to the ground, I think Aspinall would knock him the fuck out, honestly. In the first round, Aspinall would knock him out. That's just what I think. The division sucks, all right? It's real loose. I got some homies in that division that I rock with, like Sergey Spivak. But heavyweight MMA is the lowest form of MMA, man. You guys, I see people on Twitter hating on women's MMA, and it's like, have you seen heavyweight MMA? Are you serious? Have you seen them get tired in the first 30 seconds? And now it's just like whoever can land that punch and get the wind and momentum to knock the guy over, so now they win because you guys are both about to have a heart attack. That's heavyweight MMA. All right. That's high level heavyweight MMA. I don't want it. Get rid of it. But let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys over this? I'm kind of over the whole John Jones thing. I think he can retire. Like, I don't think he would take this long to agree to fight anybody else. I believe if he had the option to fight Pereira, he would have agreed to that. He would have signed that contract already. All right? He wouldn't have said, nope, I need 6 months to fight Pereira. That would not have happened. All right? I'm over this fight. The whole thing with this, right, is that in this sport, unlike boxing, usually the best fight the best. They book these fights. Seems like every 3 to 4 months when they're younger, you see these people fight even more frequently than that sometimes. When they get older, maybe once every, like maybe twice a year we see these people fight. You know, as they get older, if we're lucky, if maybe just one, once they start making that money. My point is, we shouldn't have to jump through all these hurdles just to see John Jones fight. There's other fighters, all right? The wheel keeps turning. Let's just keep going. I don't have any time. I don't have any more patience for this. But head on over to GeeKay. Let them know that I sent you. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. And let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Thank you guys for being here once again. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. And I will see you guys soon. Be easy.
I'm more Francis Ngannou. I be the biggest problem out of any nigga I know. A little old school like some 45 vinyls. You niggas old dudes, what that do to the wino? I do it the commercial way, pay without the splits. When and got my